Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria. If this happens to be your first time visiting, welcome to Siempre Infinitos DIY. I know my friends, it's been a while, so I am so sorry about that. Okay, so if you are following me over on Facebook, then perhaps you already know about the coffee machine. The only thing that I did not share over there was how I made the coffee machine. So this is why I am making this for you today. All right, this piece of styrofoam here, it is actually from the bigger size that I have made over there on Facebook. This is what I had left. And once I decided and figured out how big I could make this coffee maker, I just went ahead and lined it all up. So I'm adding the size in case you want to make one this size in the video here for you. I'll leave you the measurements. But this is what I came up with. If you have one much bigger, then you just want to make sure that you know how wide you want the opening to be. And I'm referring to where I am going to be placing the coffee pot. So as you can see, this styrofoam is pretty thick. So I'm using my kitchen knife to cut out the piece that I'm not going to be needing. And I'm going to be very careful because it is kind of hard to cut all the way through a piece this thick. But I'm also going to be very careful when I'm pulling out the piece that I'm no longer going to be using, because I do not want to break the back side of my coffee pot. So once I pull that out very gently, then I'm going to go in with my sand block and I'm going to start smoothing it all out. I want to make sure that there's no lumps in it. So when I place my clay, you will not see that. As well, I want to make sure that I clean my surface, because you also don't want any loose little pieces of foam, because they will I don't know why, but they're very staticky, so they will come to you, if that makes any sense. But to your clay, they'll get stuck in there, and then just to get those out is just a nightmare. Well, at least for me. So once I have my clay, I want to make sure that I press the clay down, so there will be no air in there. Otherwise, you will see that, and it will be very noticeable. And instead of the inside of the coffee maker, instead of being flat, it's going to be almost like curved, if that makes any sense, if you do not flatten it down. So you want to make sure that you flatten it down as much as possible. Okay, and then towards the back, all you do is just wrap it as if you're wrapping a gift box. And then of course the edges, don't worry about those, you can smooth those out. One thing I love about clay is that at parts it is very forgiving, depending on how long you take. Remember, the longer you take to create your piece, the drier it will become. The more you're handling your clay, the drier it will become, and then you'll start seeing all of these little creases in there. It almost looks like it's wrinkled, and I'm sure we all have noticed that, and it just looks terrible because once it dries, it will be very noticeable. So you want to make sure that when you condition your clay, you condition it well enough and not over condition it also. And then when you work with it, try to work with it as fast as you can. When it comes to the soft clay, I do notice, and I have noticed that when you're using firm clay, it is a little bit more forgivable when it comes to, covering up your craft and what have you. All right, so now I'm going to just add these strips all the way around in the inside of my coffee maker, and only on the top. I'm only going to add some of it on the front. Now, I got my inspiration with the color from from Pinterest. I saw this coffee maker that was more like a 50s style type of coffee maker. Really loved it. But I fell in love more with the color, which is why I decided to use these two colors. And this is how easy and simple this is turning out to be. What do you think? And then for the little buttons, all I did was just cut little strips, little white strips, and I just add in there, the little buttons also supposed to mimic the off and on button, and then added a piece of gray strip in there. And that's, you can, once you let that dry, you can go in there with a Sharpie or with a pen, and you can write some numbers in there to give it more of that look of a coffee maker, or you can just leave it plain, totally up to you. And this is how I made my coffee maker. So you see how easy it was. All right, so for my coffee pot, I am going to be using a smaller ball, and all I'm doing here is just pressing it down on both sides. The top side, and then there's the bottom side. You can see that the top is a little smaller. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, or in the bottom's a little bit wider. The bottom, the part that is a little bit wider, that's the side is going to actually be the upside, the top of the coffee maker, the coffee pot. I'm sorry, the coffee pot, because I want to add the lid, and I want the lid to be the same size as that. And since I want the little bit wider, if that makes any sense, so you can tell that it's a coffee pot. And again, you just want to roll out your clay. You want to make sure there's no bubbles in there. If you do see a bubble, grab a toothpick, poke that, or a very sharp tool that you might have around, one of your tools, and then just puncture that little hole and roll it back and forth to get all of those bubbles and lines in there. I personally do not like to wear my rings because they will mark your clay no matter what. They'll always mark your clay, and then when your clay dries up, you'll see those marks in there. That's why I don't like to use jewelry whenever I do any type of creations that has to do with clay, because of that one reason. So that would prevent it from happening. I also, another thing, my nails, but that's a whole different story. Anyways, so now that I have my coffee pot ready, I'm going to add the little spout. And the spout, all I did is cut a triangle, and then I folded it in and placed it in there. To make the face, what I did was just, I didn't use any tools. All I did was to grab little balls, and then I just pressed them down. Make sure that they were the same size. And then just press them down, and then just add it for the eyebrows and for the lip or the mouth. Again, I use my clear block stamp that is sitting there, and I just use that to make a little worm. This helps me to prevent from any dents because of my fingers in the clay, and to make sure that it's the actual same size, because sometimes if you just use your hands, I'm sure you all notice, that one side of the clay is a little bit thicker than the other. So this will give you a perfect thickness. The entire worm or piece will be the same size and not have one thicker than the other and what have you. Anyways, so want to get off subject real quick just to welcome all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate every single one of you. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, I really hope you consider in doing so. This will help my channel grow. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I also hope to inspire you enough to make one of these coffee makers, and I would love for you to share with me if you decide to make one. I'm really loving this. I think it's so cute, so adorable. This will be great if you want to put in your kitchen, or if you want to do it as a gift, for a little girl, for a tea party or something, like that. But anyways, so yeah, so with all of that being said, let's get back to the video. So here is my cute little coffee maker. All right, so now for the coffee cup, the same exact way that I did my coffee pot, I am going to do my coffee cup. The only thing I'm not going to share with you is how I added the face to it, because I already showed you how to do that on the coffee maker. I'm sorry, on the coffee pot. Sorry, my friends. Anyways, so the only thing that I am going to share with you when it comes to my coffee bean bag is how much material I used to roll out the shape of my bean bag. I'm not going to share with you how I made it all the way through, because I do have a separate video that I'm going to be linking in this video. So if you want to see how to make a bigger version of it, go check that video out. If you want to see how I made for it to be the same size for this coffee maker that I have here, then stick around, and the rest obviously you're still gonna have to go over there and see it. Sorry about that, friends. Okay, so I think if you saw it on Facebook, no, I did not share that. Okay, so but yes, I do have the video, and I will link it here in case you want to see how I made the coffee bean bag. The only difference is I did not added the face to that one, because that was actually for something else. But the same way that I made my coffee bean bag is the same way that I did that one. So and then again, you know, here all I'm doing is just making sure that I'm cleaning out the edges, and I'm just pressing it in that there's no bubbles. Here is my clear block stamp to make my perfect size worm. And then I'm just gonna curve that little end there and curve that the opposite way, and then just gonna find my perfect spot for my coffee, and then there you are. And then of course I went in later and I added a piece of white uh, clay, going like almost like a worm shape to give it look, to make it look like it's steaming. All right, so this is what I use for my coffee bean bag. This is just a paper that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I just made a ball, rolled it up. As you can see here, I'm trying to make the shape of my coffee bean bag. Grab another paper, fold it in half, and then fold it one and then two times. Then I, as you can see there, I just start rolling it all up. And then and that's just how, this is the size that I use and how much paper I use for my coffee bean. The rest of it you're gonna have to go wash, because there's more steps to making this coffee bean. And then that's it. Especially if you don't want that paper to get all soggy. Anyways, my friends, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate every single one of you. I hope you subscribe to my channel if you have not. And then until the next time, stay safe, be kind, bye.